Hello, everybody. This is Tim Brzezinski. Melissa McCain and I wanted to let everybody know here that we've made two major changes to the Building Thinking Classroom's automated grading rubric that's not discussed in the first main video that shows you how to use the Google Sheet. That video, everything in it is legit, but the two changes that we added to this based on Peter's recommendation is as follows. Right here, we added a brand new check here, check sub S, which means, hey, knowledge was demonstrated individually with a silly mistake that's not related to the objective. For example, right? Let's suppose a student was finding distance between 2 points in the coordinate plane. And they set it up, they did the Pythagorean theorem correctly, and the answer came out to be, say, the square root of 99 was the distance between them. But the student simplified the radical incorrectly. Let's say they said root 99 was 4 root 11 instead of 3 root 11. For example, right? Something silly, totally not related to the objective, as simplifying a radical is not related to finding distance between 2 points, right? In that case, you can give it a check sub S, which is, hey, silly mistake, but it has nothing to do with the objective whatsoever, okay? Now, there is also another one over here, which says in row 14, which says, hey, silly mistake that detracts from the objective. For example, let's suppose that the student has a right triangle and needs to find the length of a leg. And the length of the leg is called X. And the student writes out 3 squared plus 4 squared equals X squared. You see, well, that equation should be written when we're solving for the hypotenuse, right? And so therefore, clearly the student has not demonstrated a conceptual understanding of the Pythagorean theorem. So in that case, that would be an X sub S, where you made a silly mistake. Yeah, you have the right equation, but you're totally like not using it correctly, detracting from the objective there. Okay, so that's one major change that we made here to the marking options. The second and most important major change that we've made here is as follows. Right here, what is the lowest grade over here on the right? What lowest grade a student can earn to pass your course? Enter as a percentage. So for many parts of the world, it's 50%. That'll go to 2, 3, 4. At the school I teach at, it's actually 60%. That changes it to a 3, 4, 5. If you make it a 67%, it'll be 4, 5, 6. Now, the logic here is as follows. All right, when Melissa and I talk with Peter after our NCTM workshop to get feedback from him, all right, Peter, when he wrote the book, he intentionally intended for basic, the score of whatever basic's worth. Basic should have, if a student meets basic, if a student demonstrates mastery 2 consecutive times in the basic category, then that score should be the minimum passing grade for whatever course the student is in, right? That's from Peter himself. So that's why if a 67 is the minimum requirement to pass, that's why a basic is 4 out of 6, right? Intermediate would be 5 out of 6, and advanced would be the 100% or a 6 out of 6. And in Peter's book, he uses a default of 50%, right? Basic worth 2. Why? Because 2 out of 4 is 50%. Right? In the school at which I teach, I'm going to put a 60 in my Google Sheet because, right, a 3 out of 5 is 60%. So whenever students demonstrates mastery of a basic category in my classes, they're going to earn at least now a 3 out of 5 instead of 2 out of 4, if that makes sense. And I think Melissa's coded it up to the point where a 71, I think a 70 or 71. That goes to 4, 5, 6. I think a 71 is now a 5, 6, 7 because 5 out of 7 is like 71.4%. And I don't think there's a lot of people that have a 75 as a bare minimum passing grade, but obviously you see how 6 out of 8 is now 75%. So in this cell G2 right here, what you want to do is enter the minimum grade that a student needs to earn to pass your course, and that will determine the score in the basic category to preserve the idea that Peter had intended when he wrote chapter 14 of Building Thinking Classrooms. So that's the only change here the 2 changes that we've made here. Thank you for the feedback that you've given us in the Facebook group and on Twitter and other parts of social media. We look forward to making this platform even better as you continue to engage your students and assess your students in your thinking classroom.